Well, thank you for staying with us. Now we're switching lanes and we're being joined by a team member of the Stand to End Rape Initiative, which is STIR, Aisha Salahuddin. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I mean, 4 years down the lane, it's been a lot of work. How has that been going on?
Well, it's actually progressing. So when we initially started, because what we do is we look into sexual abuse, all forms of sexual abuse in Nigeria. So when we initially started, it was quite difficult because people's perception towards sexual abuse was don't talk about it. It's just something that you keep indoors, you don't bring it outdoors. And we're doing the opposite. So we're talking about it, talking to parents, advocacy all over. So the perception was very, it wasn't receptive. So we had to struggle with that for a while, struggle to talking to people. And then, but like 4 years down the line, when you think about that, it's not doing badly. Actually, now we go to schools, we openly talk to students about sexual abuse, about reproductive health and rights. And I'm not saying it's great now, but of course, when you compare it to when we started in 2014, it's really great. And then another thing that I can think about is the decision-making process, because what we don't do advocacy alone. We have the legal aspect where we sort of have counsels who monitor cases in court and stuff. And so you notice that there's some cases going on for 2 years, for so many years, and then, there's the victim, and victim isn't really getting anything. So it's super slow. Like I can think of a case that has been going on for years. So that decision-making process is also a problem. So over the years, it's still, it's still there despite us following up. And then there's the funds aspect, because it's a not-for-profit organization, so the funds actually affect us as well. I know of a case of a survivor that we're working with. We actually had to crowdfund for that, and we've never really done that before. So over the years, it's a bit limiting. So
I can imagine things like this that are not, normal in the society, kind of, you always meet all those brick walls and all those challenges.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, like you said, you're not just advocating. I mean, you mentioned all those things you're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, are you guys planning on pushing out or maybe trying to see how the policy making aspect
we do that,
changed? Because I mean, we just saw how young people pushed the not too young to run bill. Are you trying to see how you can push?
Oh, yes, definitely. We actually do that too. So we advocate for a lot of bills. There's one for sexual abuse in tertiary institutions. We've sort of created a framework of what we think should be included, and we sort of have different petitions and people to actually push for those bills. So it's not, just advocacy and everything. We have things. So like I said, there's one as well, the VAP bill, Violence Against Persons Act, that has been passed, but we were, we worked on that as well. We had like structures, things that we wanted to put, and we kept following up with that, and we got people to talk about it. So there's a lot that we're doing on that policy part as well.
Yeah.
And slowly it's actually changing. I can speak for Lagos State that we can see the difference. So we work on that as well.
So I mean, you also talked about you also talked about funding, in terms of moving your activities, because not too long ago, I think I saw some of your flyers talking about expanding to River State, and calling for volunteers. I mean, how volunteering? I mean, because that's something people, have to do without being paid. I mean, so how many do people really come up to volunteer?
Yes, trust me, people surprisingly actually come up to volunteer. We have tons of volunteers. I know this year in January we put out a call that we want volunteers in different fields, paralegals, writers. Personally, I used to manage the writers team, and I know that when we first put out a call for it, so many people wanted to write. So, and the underlying factors, they always say that we can relate to this type of thing. We know that it happens. If you check the stats, 1 in 4 women have faced sexual violence before the age of 18. For men, 1 in 10 men. So they always say, we can relate, so we want to help, and they come forward. It's actually amazing. The Port Harcourt call that you mentioned we just put out, we said, we need volunteers. And people, came up and said, yes, we're going to do this, we're going to help. So it's been super, effective.
So I'm glad you mentioned men.
Yes.
So just go ahead. I mean, because I'm looking at the fact that, we're ending rape. Even men are raped.
Yes.
So have you had cases?
Yes, so men actually do come up. I mentioned something about perception before. Part of that perception problem is that people believe that there's no sexual abuse for men, or they actually, hide this. But for us, we've, part of the project we're working on now is actually educating secondary school boys about sexual abuse, rape, and consent, because we know it doesn't just affect women, although the numbers are more for women, but it's not limited. So we actually try to talk to boys as well, talk to fathers, parents, and then we encourage boys, to come up. And we've had some men come up, and then it's always that problem of, the society doesn't really see it as well. But we're trying to change that, and that's why we have secondary schools in Ogun State and Lagos State. We're talking to boys like, you know what, it's okay if this has happened to you, and then we also talk to them about consent, because we know it's not, a one-way thing. And surprisingly, again, the reception is amazing. They're, contributing, they're talking about it as well. And I think slowly we'll actually get to that point where men will not feel so shy or, closed-minded about it. Yeah.
So what informed this decision? What brought about the decision to begin Stand to End Rape?
Okay, so when it first started, the executive director, before, she called the group, she realized that there wasn't any safe space per se for people to come out to talk about, sexual abuse. It was just lonely, nobody was really talking about it. Then this was 2014. It wasn't, where it was here. And she had the idea way before then. Nobody was talking about it. There wasn't a safe space for women. Hospitals weren't this open. There was so much around it. So she wanted to do something different. She wanted to change that. And then so she, organized a team of like-minded people and said, what? Let's create this safe space. It started with social media at first. We were just,
Yeah, because I was also going to come to that. I mean, the power of social media.
She was just, getting people on Twitter, Facebook to talk about it. And then there were so many people. And then she realized this is not a Twitter or Facebook thing. This is like, we have to, create a solid establishment for this.
Take the online, conversations offline.
Yeah, so it went, offline when she realized that it was bigger than just Twitter and Facebook. And then so that's when it started going. We started going to, communities, talking to people about it, getting parents, encouraging, people that have been sexually abused to come out and talk to us. We just wanted to be that safe space that didn't exist for people. And yet that's basically what started, how it grew.
So what next now? 4 years? What's the future like?
Yes, we're just going to continue working on our projects. We're expanding now. Now we're just looking for different means to sort of pass the message across. It's not just, going and talking to people. Now we want to do this different exhibitions. People relate to things in different ways. So for this year, for example, we're starting this art exhibition, talking to people through art, through writings, just finding various means to communicate, aside just usual advocacy. We've got HIV/AIDS screening and testing. We do so much sexual reproductive health and rights as well. So it's not just sexual abuse. We want people to talk about family planning, about
which is very key as well.
Exactly, because
so people, you need to be able to monitor it.
So people, when they think sexual abuse, sometimes they don't think about those things. We're just trying to expand, broaden our horizons, and that's what we're doing. But we're also talking to boys as well. So this year for our 4th anniversary is just us expanding and doing more things, getting to more people. And that's just the key. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the program and thank you for sharing your beautiful work, with us. Team members, Stand to End Rape Initiative, Aisha, Salahuddin. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on the program. Thank you for having me. You're welcome. Well, that's where we are. We'll take a quick break and I'll be back with the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. Please stay with us.
Political for you. Do you think
We begin this week's most viewed videos with that of Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, reacting to the declaration of June 12 as a new democracy day by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Significance of the June 12 mandate. It was a pan-Nigerian mandate. So to therefore say this is an attempt to assuage the feelings of people in the Southwest is sometimes can be insulting.
It seems strange that somebody who benefited from the death of somebody else would be the one who is so adamant about...
It followed in 4th place by the claim made by daughter of the presumed winner of the 1993 elections, MKO Abiola, Tudu, that former President Olusegun Obasanjo was not elected but selected when Nigeria returned to civilian rule in 1999.
Cannot do that. They're not capable of doing that. So he has to deny within himself and to other people. He has to tell himself that this is all me. I earned this, but he did not. We did not have an election in 1999. We had a coronation.
Well, in any situation of insurgency or stability.
In 3rd place, is the video of former military president General Ibrahim Babangida speaking about insurgency, the 2019 elections, as well as what led to the annulment of the 1993 elections, presumed to have been won by late MKO Abiola.
So the concept is to inflict maximum casualty on government properties, human beings, using the smallest possible number of troops.
Second spot is taken by the ceremony where the title of GCFR was conferred on late MKO Abiola, as well as GCON titles Wagana Kingigbe and late Chief Gani Fahimi, 25 years after the June 12 election.
And the investiture marking the formal official federal government recognition of June 12 as National Democracy Day.
I don't have a problem with my party. But
and the most viewed video is that of the senator representing Kogi West in the upper legislative chamber, making scathing comments about the ruling All Progressives Congress, the party on whose platform he ran for office.
There's a need for amelioration, there's a need for palliation. Whether there's still time for that to happen, I can't tell. But there's no doubt that the APC stick.
Well, there you go. Those were the most viewed videos on our YouTube channel in the past week. And that is the program this week. Thank you for watching. And do remember to continue the conversation via the social media addresses showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Victor Matthias.